The deadline is approaching for the specialized high school test, and the deadline is also not the deadline, but the date that the high school um, application process will open up is coming also soon. So we're gonna go over some general information pertaining high school, um, and then some specific information. So this is going to be a presentation between Ms. Frias, the school counselor in charge of graduation, and myself. So let's begin with the first slide. So, so once again, this is our journey, and it's going to be a long journey. At some point, a long journey, sometimes a pleasant one, and in some instances, a painful one because I still have 210 parents that have not created their accounts yet. So that's going to be a challenge for all of us. So today's agenda, we're going to be talking about the high school admission overview, high school admissions overview, especially high school admissions, high school application updates, my school updates and instruction, and next steps. Next slide. So again, when it comes to the overview, we're going to be talking about two things: the high school application and the specialized high school test. So let's move on. So who can participate? All 8th graders, all 8th grade students who live in New York City, DOE or charter school students, private or parochial school students, any student, including, and read the last statement, students whose permanent address is in New York City but are temporarily residing elsewhere due to the COVID-19 can participate in high school admissions. Next slide. We have in our building English language learners. We have around, I have actually in the 8th grade, we have around 120 English language learners. We have to work with them, showing the parents how to apply for the high school and the services that they are entitled in high school. Next, when it comes to English language learners, some high school has specific programs for this type of population. So this is something that if you have an ESL student, just take those things into consideration. Next slide. Student with disabilities, same situation. If you have any students with IEPs, make sure that you look at the section of every high school that has information pertaining to students with IEPs. All high schools will provide services for students with IEP. That's not negotiable. They must provide services. It's just more about the type of services they have in certain schools. Next slide. In high school admissions, students are considered to offers in 2 seat groups: students with disabilities and general education students, and especially those in ICT settings. Just make sure that you study carefully how is that going to look like in a high school setting. Next. The student with accessibility needs learn about high school accessibility by visiting or contacting the school directly. In the high school and specialized high school admissions guide or online in my school. This is the time for you to get all the information you can before you make that final decision for your child. Next slide. There are 2 pathways to high school: the high school application process and the specialized high school. So when it comes to the high school application process, again, explore programs and start your application. List 12 choices in your true order of preference and apply up to 1 offer. And there's also a wait list. Miss, would you like to elaborate on this, Ms. Frias?
The wait list, let's say you listed 12 choices on your high school application and you received choice number 5. All of the choices above the one you received, you will be automatically placed in a wait list for those high schools. and until late summer. Then if a seat becomes available, they will call you directly and they will ask you if you want to go to their high school, or stay with the one that you received.
Right. And when it comes to the specialized high school schools, we have 8 testing schools. We're going to show that in a minute. But you have to register for the specialized high school test. And the test will be administered at IS 145 on Wednesday, January 27th.
Excuse
So
me,
when
I'm
the
sorry. I have a question.
process that later, okay,
Oh,
Brandon? A second later, okay? Thank you.
Yes.
So, okay, let's go back.
Can I add something to that, Mr. Rodriguez? The specialized high schools do not have wait lists. Okay, so if you did not pass the test, then you are not in. So that's how it goes. It's the testing schools for the specialized high schools do not have wait lists. Only the non-specialized high schools.
Right, and as soon as Mateo can accommodate okay, do go back for a minute, previous slide. Okay, okay. So when it comes to the specialized high school, right, the students have to take a test. The test will be here at IS 145. I have to make sure that by the 15th of this month, which is, I guess, Friday, right? All
Yes.
students that are interested, and parents, of course, they would have to apply for the test. And then based on that, I'll request the booklets, the grids, the proctors, and obviously we have to follow all safety guidelines regarding the pandemic, the COVID-19 situation. I don't know if it's Jamie or Mateo, we need to go back to the slide that we had about the specialized high school versus the non-specialized high school. Right, there, go back. Okay, good. So, okay, good. And then, so that's when it comes to the specialized high school. Then we have Ms. Frias, you want to talk a little bit about the audition to the schools.
Okay, so as Mr. Rodriguez said, the specialized high school deadline is the 15th. If you can go forward, Mr. Mattel. So there are 8 specialized high schools.
But for the one for LaGuardia, Ms. Frias, that is still listed here, they
Okay.
need audition.
Okay, so we'll go into details after the slides, but for LaGuardia, of course, when you have My Schools account, that's the number one thing. Otherwise, you can't apply for anything. You have available to also register for LaGuardia Performing Arts High School, which is the only specialized high school that is by audition, not by the test. And then you have until February 23rd to submit your audition virtually. So we're going to talk about it a little bit more further in the next slides.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. And if you price it, we have some. Okay, good. Go ahead. So there are 8 testing specialized high schools, right, Ms. Frias?
Correct. These are the 8 testing specialized high schools. So we have 2 in the Bronx, 2 in Brooklyn, 2 in Manhattan, and 1 in Queens, and 1 in Staten Island. And the last one, which is Figueroa LaGuardia High School of Music and Art and Performing Arts, that's the one that is by audition. And you do have to register for that for LaGuardia in order to participate. We can go to the next one. Okay, so we went over that. You can, by taking one test, you can apply for all of the 8 specialized high schools, and you rank them in order of preference. And that's when you go to My Schools. You can, when you register, before you submit the registration, you have to rank the specialized high schools, the one you want to apply to, starting from number 1.
Okay, next slide.
Yeah. So that's how it looks like on your My Schools account. Basically, you're going to, can you go to the next slide, because it really doesn't, that's how it looks like. So if you add, let's say you want Stevenson number 1, you click on add and it will go to number 1, and then number 2 and so forth. So it's going to start from number 1. You're going to list the ones that you want to go to. Okay. So if the student has an IEP, or they have a 504 plan, or they're English language learners, they get whatever the IEP accommodations state, they will get in their for the test. So if the student gets double time, they will get double time for the test, and also for the English language learners. So when you apply for the specialized high school, you should get an email, a receipt saying that you submitted your application, and then in 10 days you will get also a notification in your email with the ticket. You need the ticket in order to take the test. On the ticket, you're going to have the accommodations. So if there's, you double check that, please. If it's listed wrong, you have to let me know as soon as possible. And also for the ESL students.
Right. So, Ms. Fias, when I was talking to the 8th graders, and I visited some of the classrooms, what I've been noticing is that the students, I think there are 3 pieces to this. They select the school in order of preference.
Right.
But then it goes to the next section that says that if it's okay for them to take it on a Saturday, or if Saturday is not an option, and that type of information. And then they goes to the 3rd section, and they have to submit it. Many students are not submitting they're not finalizing the process. So make sure, parents, that you have to just go towards the end and submit the registration. So we could get a report, and that will give me an opportunity to start drafting how should I set up at IS 145 the accommodation and at all levels, not just accommodation for English language learners and students with disabilities, but also following the safety guidelines in every classroom.
That's correct. It says here, that's what you're going to get. As I explained, when you print the ticket, you need to take it to the test location, which is our school. And we're going to follow the, safety guidelines. You have to take the DOE health screening before you come to the building, and the temperature will be taken. But also, just on the ticket, there might be a list of the specialized high school. It says here not to bubble the preference, because you already did it online. When you're registering for the test, and as Mr. Rodriguez said, it will ask you before you submit if you would like to take, this is for Sabbath or service, if you can take the test on a Saturday, on a Sunday. Well, but obviously we're going to take the test on the 27th, which is a Wednesday. It's not a Saturday or a Sunday. But it does ask that, because just in case you are not feeling well and you're feeling sick, or you have any kind of symptoms, do not come to take the test. So if you cannot make the test, if you cannot go and take the test, then you have to let me know, so I can, and I do need a doctor's notes for this, I can request a makeup test. So the makeup test will be either on a Saturday or on a Sunday, and it's going to be at a further disclosed location. I don't think it's going to be our school.
Okay.
So that's for makeup tests.
Next slide, please.
So basically, we have spoken about this before, but the test is 180 minutes, so there's no breaks, unless your accommodations, if you have to take breaks and that's what it states on your IEP, then that's what they're going to follow. For students with accommodation will be 360 minutes, and there's 57 questions in ELA and 52 in math. So that's how, the time is going to be timed.
Right, and some students have been asking for test practice. So those of you that have the booklet, we still have this in our school. you have some samples in there, so in case that you need to review some information or get some test prep materials. So let us know. You can always come to the school. I mean, the parents can always come and pick up one of those guides. We have plenty in our school.
Correct.
Now,
Miss Rios.
when it comes down to LaGuardia, what are we doing with LaGuardia?
Okay, so you know, they can apply up to 6 programs, and you know, the deadline is February 23rd, and they do not need a ticket because it's going to be a virtual audition. So they will not have a ticket for that, LaGuardia auditions. It's going to be all virtual, and you're going to have a, what they call a, if you can go to the next slide, because I think it says it there, they're going to submit the audition through the virtual audition submission tool by March 1st. Okay, so please make a note of this to go to the website to inform yourself about the virtual audition submission tool for my on this website, because this is very, very important. If you don't submit the audition, then you won't be considered for this school and for the other performing arts high schools. LaGuardia is the only school that is going to rank the students and select the students by the audition, and also they are going to review your grades for last year. We're going to talk about that next.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what is going to show.
So the next one.
So updates on the high school applications. There are 3 ways to learn about high schools. You have your guide, our school, me, and my schools, NYC. And this is the guide. It has both the high school guide, and also has the specialized high school admission information. And you know, you also have, they do have online the new 2021 New York City high school guide. So it is only online. So you can go to schools.nyc.gov/high, and you can view the updated version of the specialized high school guide in high school.
Next.
Okay, so LaGuardia, so you can use my schools all year round to explore high schools. Even if you're a 7th grader, you can look at, if you're, you know, if your child's in 7th grade also, you can start looking at high schools now. So you can, you know, as we spoke, you can, in my schools, you can register for LaGuardia. And when the high school applications open, you're going to the 18th, then you're going to apply through my schools.
Okay, next.
Next. Thank you. And there are videos about everything. It explains, it gives you more detail about exploring high schools, specialized high schools, and tutorials for my school, how to use my school, and how to also create the account for my schools. And also coming up, I think they're going to also have a video, and of course you go to this website on how to submit the specialized high school registration.
Next.
And in my schools, you can print, you know, the page for that school that you're looking at. So that's new. So you can print that out and view it. It might be easier. Some people need paper rather than the screen. So that's new.
And it's still in the book. It's still in the booklet, or the book, the high school book. They have it in there.
It's in the high school book, yes. So, but if they don't have the high school book right then and there, I mean, they have a printer, they can print out the page for that particular high school. So now this is the new updates for high school. They eliminated the district priorities. No longer the high schools and the programs have district priorities. But what have not changed is eligibility based on boroughs and other factors. Boroughs meaning priority to students that live in Queens, those type of programs. or students that priority to students that are continuing 8th graders. So those are still there, but no longer its program can prioritize by district. Next, please. So priority group shows how the students are considered for offers. So they are different at different programs. Okay, priority groups are, based on district. Did we say this already? Are eliminated, but they're not unchanged priority based on borrow zones and other factors. So priority groups are important when you're looking at your chances. Let's look at this example here. This school gives priority to Manhattan students. And then number 2 will be the New York City residents. So if you don't live in Manhattan, you live in Queens, you're not in the first priority group. So what you want to do most of the times, most of the programs you list on your high school application, you want to be in the first priority group. Next, please. So diversity in admission, this is new. There are more than 20 high schools participating in the Diversity in Admission initiative. And we'll explain more if you can go to the next. So if you go to My Schools to find those schools that are participating in diversity in admissions, you can go to the interest area, and then you can click and you can go to more filters and then scroll down to diversity in admission and check that box. And all of these high schools that are participating in this initiative will appear. So it's basically, okay, so basically it will tell you right there, if you read that, is applicants eligible for free or reduced lunch will be considered in the same priority group order. 38% of the seats are, for this particular program, are reserved to this group of students. So they prioritize low-income applicants and the children that receive free lunch, but we know that all of the students receive free lunch. So what they do is the parent, if they want to participate in these high schools, they want to have priority, they have to show their income tax, and their income tax have to be considered. Income has to be level in below the federal free lunch threshold. So you have to submit your income tax, and that's how you can prove that you are below the federal level. They give priority to these students, okay? So admission methods are really like, what is it that you need to do or you need to have in order to apply for that particular program? So it's what the student needs to do to be considered for admissions. Every admission, every program has different admission methods. So you have to read and see what it is that they ask. For this example here, this admission method is EDOPT. And EDOPT is, they basically give opportunities to all students, whether they're low, middle, and high. So they take percentages from each category. Next. So I think that's what okay. So these are the different admission methods, and what we recommend, and you're going to see in the other slides, that you mix different admission methods in your high school application. Don't just list programs that are or screen for language or screen programs. There, look at your grades. All of the programs are educational option, EDOPT, but you want to mix it up. You want to have some programs that are EDOPT, they are screen programs, they're open admission methods. In auditions, for all of the auditions are going to be placed remotely this year. So audition programs at LaGuardia, as we explained, you have to register first in My Schools and then submit the audition file through the virtual virtual audition submission tool. And for the other programs, you list those programs on your high school application, and you submit also the virtual audition submission tool. So everything is going to be virtual, but you do, if you submit, let's say for Frank Sinatra School of the Fine Arts, you have to list that school on your high school application, and you also have to submit the virtual audition. Next, please. So the audition admission method, except for LaGuardia, none of the performing arts high schools will be reviewing your academic records, and there will not be reviewing attendance or punctuality. Only LaGuardia, because it's a specialized high school, they will be looking at your grades. And also, by the way, the specialized high schools do not look at your academic record for last year. They only base their entrance, their admissions is based on the test. If you pass the test, you will get into one of them. So this is the new update. The screen admission method. The students will be used to evaluate. This is what they're going to use to evaluate the students. The final course grades for 2018-2019. That means your final report card for 6th grade. Some programs. This is not every program. So this year's selection criterion can include. So some high school might ask for all of them, or some high school or some programs might ask for just the 6th grade final report card. And they could also use the first and second marking period for last year, your 7th grade grades, and your standardized tests for ELA and math for from 6th grade. Okay, so they're working on the rubrics. It will be definitely by the 18th, you will see, if you're looking at the screen programs, what each high school requires, what is the selection criteria, and it will be in, it will appear there. So it's starting, the 18th, you are going to see some high schools also, besides the academic records and what they use to evaluate the student, they will also, such as, let's say, Bar Early College, you have to take an assessment. So those things you have to complete and follow the instructions. If you don't take BART requires an assessment, and they also require an interview. So some schools do require more, and especially in the screen programs. So basically for BARD, Manhattan Hunter, you have to also complete an application with them. You also, if you are listing those high schools in your high school application, you have to also complete their requirements. You have to go to their website and find out more about that. So educational action, as we said, it creates academic diversity among incoming students. Students from all academic levels can apply for the educational option programs. You just need to list that program on your high school application. There's nothing else that you need to do. How do they come up categorized high, low, and mid and middle? You can find this on your, when you go to My Schools, your account, and you go to dashboard, you have all your information there. If you scroll all the way down, everyone has an EdApp category. So you can find out what is your category if you go in your My Schools account. But basically, all these programs will select top third of students citywide, high category, middle, third of the students citywide, 1/3 of offers to each program, and also from low, bottom third of the students citywide, 1/3 of the offers to each program. So they will consider everyone. And they based it on the final report for 6th grade, your ELA test course for 6th grade, and also for your 7th grade report card. So as I mentioned before, just try to list mix admission methods. Do not just list one kind. You don't want to list just screen programs. You want to mix different admission methods on your high school application. And of course, it has to be all of the programs you list on your high school application, you have to want to go to. Okay, so my schools, basically, you should have received already the welcome letter, and that's explaining how to create my schools account. If you haven't received, you please contact me as soon as possible, so I can provide the creation code, and you can have my schools account. And what makes a balanced application, as we discussed, mix of admission methods is important, but you should, of course, you have to want to go to the 12th program you list on your high school application, but we really would like you to list 12 programs, not all high in demand programs, a mix of admission methods. Your child is the first priority group in some programs. So, you want to be most of the programs in the first priority group. Why is it important to have a balanced application? Because you have a better chance to get into one of the programs you list on your high school application. And that's why we say that 97% of the students who listed 12 programs received one from their high school application. A true order of preference is very important. High schools do not see which programs you list first. They do tell you that, but they don't see it. Students are considered for offers in order of programs on their high school application. If you don't get your first choice, they will go to the second choice, and it's your first choice. They treat it as your first choice. Okay. So remember, we'll talk about you'll ask the questions later. Okay, the virtual, I did post that already in my Google Classroom, virtual high school fairs. There's a lot of them now. So please look it up. It's in the classwork in my Google Classroom, or you can go to schools.nyc.gov/hi. Next. And this is the timeline. So take a picture, please. That is posted in my Google Classroom. We discussed this before, but you have to register. The deadline for the specialized high school is this Friday. The high school applications will be available through your My Schools account the 19th. It closes on February 27. The deadline for me to enter your high school application will be March 1st. And the offers will be released late spring, summer, and the waitlist will open. And then the waitlist will close on late summer, I would say August. And so if you take the specialized high school test, then late spring, you will receive, even if you pass it, you will receive one offer from the specialized high school and one offer from the non-specialized high school for the 12 choices. And if you also audition for LaGuardia and you did well in LaGuardia, you also will get an offer from LaGuardia. So you will have to decide which school you would like to go to, and you can actually go on My Schools account and accept and decline, or you can contact me and I can do it for you. But you do have that option in your My Schools account. And those are the videos, very good videos. I have most of them in my Google Classroom, but you can go to schools.nyc.gov/hi and view the videos. And this is the next step. You can inform more yourself, learn more, uh, viewing the videos. And these are all the websites you can go to learn more, especially the audition one. If you planning to audition for LaGuardia or for other performing arts high schools, please go to schools.nyc.gov/auditions. And if you're having trouble, of course, I'm the number one person you email me. But there's also, you can call the enrollment office, the Welcome Center for District 30, and of course me. And these are the contact information. If you want to take a picture, you can also email enrollment. This is for the waitlist is later, so that's not right now. That's going to be after you receive your offer. That will be late when you receive the high school, late spring. And that is the Office of Enrollment. That is their phone number.
Okay, so now we're going to go over we're going to open it up for questions.
Yes.
And, there were some questions in the chat. Let's see. So any questions that you may have? So there's a Spanish section. No, we have another session for Spanish speaking parents at 5:30, and then the student says, are students still required to have a portfolio ready for LaGuardia? So when does it need to be submitted, Ms. Rios?
Well, you have until the 23rd to submit it. As we discussed before, the virtual submission tool is going to be available, so you have to submit it there.
Okay, but that's the.
There's another question about, is there an advantage to submitting the high school application early?
Early, you mean the 18th? The same day? Yeah, I'd rather you do it early if you're sure about your choices and you already researched them and you're sure that you want to apply for those programs. Sure.
Well, yes. To advantage, I don't know if you mean that you get a better chance to get your child in a particular school. I don't know that.
No, I don't. No, I don't think so. That's no advantage, but you don't have an advantage or you're not ahead of the game. But we would like you to do it though, but submit the high school application as soon as possible. But that doesn't put your number ahead. Once it closes, that's when high schools and then high school enrollment will be placing the students. So they don't look at the applications as they get them.
Right. I have a question here saying, at what time is the test? I'm sure you're referring to the specialized high school test. I'm assuming it's going to be at 9 o'clock. I'm going for training. I'll be attending a training Thursday or Friday. I will have more information to share with you, but I'm assuming we are not around 9 o'clock. Here at AS 145, but I will get back to you, David Solano, later. And Patel, how can we see in which category we are? I don't understand that question.
You mean the EDAPT category?
Maybe that's what he means.
Yeah. Yeah.
The middle, low, and high.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
So like in which category we are we in middle, low, or high? How do you know that?
You go to My Schools account, you log into your My Schools account, and you click on dashboard where your information is, and you're going to see, you scroll down and you'll see it, and your grades should be there already too. Your sixth grades should be there, and your first and second marking period, seventh grade grades should be there.
I just started logging now, but I cannot.
It's okay, but again, everybody has a chance to apply for those programs that are EDAPT. So whether you're middle, low, or high, you can apply. It's okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Rios.
Yes.
So I submitted the specialized high school application, and they sent my parents an email saying like, thank you for filling it out. But when am I supposed to get like the ticket or something like that?
Okay. That's not for the high school application. That's for the specialized high school test. And as I said, that's great.
Yeah.
You submitted the registration. You need to wait 10 days. About 10 days, you will receive your ticket. Okay?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I submitted it 2 weeks ago. That's why.
Yeah, but when it closes, you
Right.
have it's still open. So it's not automatic.
Okay. Yes, I just
Yeah,
wanted
when
to
the
know.
registration closes, the 15th, that's what they're going to start looking at the students and issuing. You have to give them at least a week to do that. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I just thought I was in like the wrong path, but they sent my parents an email confirmation.
Good. Excellent. So that
Okay,
means
thank you.
you submitted it. Great.
There's a question somehow connected to what you're saying in terms of what are the school preparations in relate to COVID, is what I'm reading. Well, we're definitely going to follow all safety protocols pertaining the COVID-19. So again, I will be going for training, but I'm assuming we cannot have more than 10 students per class. I'm just waiting to receive the amount of students that have finalized their registration. And with that information, then I'll be contacting the DOE, and they'll be contacting me in terms of how to set it up. But we're definitely going to follow up all safety protocols when it comes to COVID. And Ms. Frias also mentioned that you still have to fill out that form, that those are the 4 questions that you normally used to fill out when you came to in-person learning, and your temperature will be taken as well, and no more than 10 students per classroom, keeping the 6 feet social distancing in place.
Yes, I know that the remote academy, the students in the remote academy might be a little nervous about it. So no, don't worry, it's going to be fine. And as I said, please, if you don't feel well that day, just don't show up and let me know. But I do need a doctor's note in order to request for a makeup.
Right, and it's just some of the question about if we register today, can we still be able to take the test? Of course, yes. But if you registered after the 15th, then you cannot take the
It
test.
won't be available.
The last day is January 15th. Okay. Okay. More questions? Go ahead, guys. Any questions, parents, students?
Yes, I still have a question about the portfolios for LaGuardia. I know they're doing a virtual audition, but my question is, will they still also be submitting a traditional portfolio of artwork virtually also, in addition to the audition?
That is the audition, though. I mean, you have to go on their website and really look at which studio is she applying? Is this Desiree?
Yes.
Desiree? Uh-huh.
Yes.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay. She's interested in applying for fine arts, right?
Correct. Yes.
So I really strongly suggest for any of the, I'm sure she's just not going to apply for LaGuardia, but she probably is interested in other performing arts high schools.
Yes.
You need to go to the LaGuardia website and see what she needs to do for the audition. And also, I did put it up, but schools.nyc.gov/SHS auditions also will give you more information about the virtual audition submission tool.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All of the websites, I really recommend any school. It doesn't have to be performing arts, but I do recommend every parent to go to the particular school website and learn more about that school. My Schools is a great directory, online directory, but it just gives you an overview. The school's websites will give you more information.
Yeah, I have a question about this book. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. My question was, any of these specialized high school offers any type of vocational trade for students?
No.
No. Okay. So is that because I was under the impression that my kid counselor was saying, some of the students with learning disabilities, they rather probably learn a trade in high school. If maybe they don't probably see in the future like a college career.
Oh, well, that wasn't me though. I'm the counselor. I don't know who said that, but the specialized high schools don't have those programs. There are schools there are CTE high schools. We have a lot. There's a lot of them that offer either they offer college credits or they offer certifications, like Queens Technical High School. If you like Aviation High School,
Right.
they do. Students graduate with a high school diploma, and they can also earn a certification. So that means they can work after high school under that certification.
So right, the Queens Vocational have some tech also programs. So maybe that could be the confusion. If maybe I'm just.
Yeah. So we showed what the 8 specialized high schools are, and it's just only 8. So the other ones are non-specialized high schools, and those are the ones that you're going to list in your high school application.
And those 8 specialized high schools are more academic schools.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
So if, let's say, my son takes the test, right, for the specialized high school, which will be Hunter, I believe that's major in science. Let's say, for example, if he failed, can he still be able to apply for Hunter, or wouldn't that count?
Which one he's interested in? Which
Science field.
But
okay, yeah.
Is Hunter one of the specialized high schools?
No, it's not. I'm not sure about the question. Hunter is not a specialized high school, so that will go in the 12 programs. When the high school application open, you can list that school in the 12 programs, and you do have to go to their website because you have to fill out an application with them, and you also have to, in the application, I think that you also have to write an essay. So you have to follow the instructions. I'm not sure what they're going to do this year, but they always they always have their own application. That's why I said parents need to really go into the school website to find out more, because some of them ask for portfolio, some of them have their own assessment, some of them have interview, some of them have their separate, application. Besides listing them on the high school application, you still have to do things for, there's requirements that you have to do and submit. So that is going to be on their website.
So we have some questions here. It says, for those students who have refused the standardized test, how will these students be evaluated? Well, you mentioned something about the 6th grade report card.
Yes. So,
Usually 7th grade, right?
Yeah. So again, they're going to use a number of things to determine which EDAP category, if that's what you're talking about, which EDAP category the student is like low, medium, middle, or high. And one of the things they're going to use, they're going to use the final 6th grade report card, the first and second mark appear in 7th grade. And if they took the standardized test in 6th grade, they will also use the ELA, standardized test level.
What is the deadline to submit the high school application? Mentioned somewhere about February 23rd.
Yes. February 23rd.
Okay, we have 2 or 3 more minutes. So any other questions that you may have? If not, you can always reach out to us. Ms. Rios, you can always come to the school in case you need more specific information or any type of advice, support.
I'm going to type my email address.
Yes, sorry, one more question. I apologize. Maybe I missed the slides. The specialized high schools, where can I see what are the specialized high schools so I can try to research and see which high schools offer science?
Most of them are math and science high schools. They concentrate a lot in math and science. Not all of them, but I mean, they all have that. So the specialized high schools, you cannot go wrong in math and science. That's really, they used to call math and science high schools.
Well, the Bronx says Bronx Science. Actually, Bronx Science is one of the specialized high schools.
Mhm. I mean, if you,
Okay.
Mateo, can you go back to that slide where the specialized high school, the list, the specialized high school, I think is the number 12.
Yeah, give me a second.
And
Thank you.
actually, while he does that, there's an interesting question here. I'm not in sixth, I guess I was not in sixth and seventh grade in New York City. So does it affect my chance of getting in a high school? All students are entitled to a high school. It's not that you're not going to end up in a high school. That's not what's going to happen. You are entitled to a high school. Maybe if that's the case, if in some instances, well, actually, it's a norm for every single eighth grader. You are aligned to your zone school in many instances. So
Yeah, but if the student was not here in sixth and seventh grade, you're coming from another state, then we need your report card. So I can, or if, I hope that if you don't have, I hope that you do, but if you don't have your report card for seventh grade, where the school you went to last year, then sure I can enter the eighth grade first marking period. So the high schools will use that. It just, that's an exception. Okay, so these are the specialized high school. Bronx High School of Science, High School of American Studies at Lehman College. These are in the Bronx. There's 2 in Brooklyn, Brooklyn Latin, Brooklyn Technical High School, and then you have Stuyvesant, and you have High School for Mathematics, Science, and Engineering at City College. And then you have also Queens High School for the Science at York College. You know, I always encourage everyone to, of course, just like the high school application, list the specialized high school in true order of preference, but it doesn't hurt to list all of them. Even if you list Staten Island last, it doesn't hurt, because what will happen if you, let's say you pass the test and you just list 3 and you didn't have seat, or you didn't make the score for those 3 that you listed, then they cannot go down to the 4th line to offer you a seat, because you didn't list anything else. So you can always decline and go to the other high schools, because remember, if you pass this test, you will get 2 high schools. You will get one offer from the specialized high school, and you will get one offer from the non-specialized high school. So you have to decline and accept one. So you can, if you get into Staten Island, let's say, that's very far, you can always decline and accept the other offer for the other non-specialized high school.
okay, so thank you, parents. Thank you, Ms. Frias, and
Mr. Rodriguez, thank you.
right. And if you have any questions, I'm here. Ivan Rodriguez, principal of IS 145. You can always come here, and then we'll take care of your situation. If you are going to do that, just make sure you come and you ring the bell. The door is the one on 34th Avenue. That's the only door that we have available for visitors, in this case, parents. You ring the bell and we'll take care of you. So thank you once again for attending this presentation, and then I'll be seeing you soon, but don't forget those deadlines. Don't forget that we have until the 15th for the specialized high schools. And those of you that do not have an account, please work on that, because we need every single parent to have access to that NYC account. So good evening, good night, and I'll be seeing you soon.